So it's the weekend. I mean, it is as I'm recording, so we're going to do a weekend style video, which really just means if the dogs start barking, we keep rolling. So there's a lot going on with, well, I was going to say gold and silver, but there's a lot going on, I guess, well beyond that as well. Exciting times, stressful times, however you want to look at it. It's also gorgeous outside. I should be touching grass rather than pushing coins and recording a video, but I feel like I haven't been keeping up with topics in the comments section as well as I could. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring back the Q&A format, speed dating style, shotgun approach. We're going to keep it fun, and we're going to see how many good topics we can cram into a single video. So let's kick this off with the obvious one. How high can gold go? Now, gold just peaked over $2,500 yesterday for the first time, new all-time high. And if you're wondering how high it can go, well, it can go higher. If you're wondering if this is the big one, well, I don't know. That video, it had some sarcasm in it, but I get asked about my 10-year forecast quite a bit, as if anyone can say what the world will be like in 10 years, much less how gold will like it. But a $3,000 gold, that's coming. $5,000 gold, that's coming. It's only a matter of time. But beyond that, nobody knows. And if you've never seen a price correction in metals, just know that they're out there. Now, this is too big of a topic to handle in a Q&A. I blame Bald Guy for this nonsense. He's a smart guy and a friend, but nobody has a clue what we're going to see 10 years from now. 7.5% annual appreciation. I mean, you could use that if you were going from the last 10 years. Maybe that's helpful, but look, what we're seeing right now is atypical. 20% run so far this year. You just can't extrapolate that. So we're going to hold that for a longer video. So here's a good one. Mo is saying, a while ago you mentioned if you started stacking today, you would buy fractional coins. He's asking if I still share that view. If so, would it be a quarter ounce? Which coins? And yeah, you're remembering correctly, but there's a little bit more to it. And thanks for the comment, by the way. If I didn't have this channel and I was a little bit younger, I would probably start out buying quarter ounce gold coins again. But it might not be for the reason that you'd think. I'm a fundamentals guy. Right now, with everything going on, I would want 3 ounces as a base. Those would be 1 ounce coins. And then I would switch to quarters. But the reason is that being new to gold means getting used to the price. Trying to schedule $2,500 purchases on a regular basis. I mean, that seems absolutely wild if you're not used to that idea, especially if you haven't recognized that you're really just converting money rather than buying something. So it's easy to forget about that shock aspect, how expensive it is if you've been at this for a while. So I would start with the lower unit price just because that would be an easier pill to swallow. Now, doing that, you have to be really careful about premiums though. So I've been able to consistently find Maple Leafs and Britannia's as low as 5 or 6% premium again on the quarters. American Gold Eagles as low as 8%, but I see them as high as 20%, and that's why you need to be careful. I would choose between those. Eagles and Maples just happen to be the most popular in the shops that I'm familiar with, so that's what I would go with. There are other options though. Krugs, Kangaroos, Philharmonics, they're all good options. Now, platinum. We knew this one was going to come up. Jimmy Two-Tone wants to know what I think about platinum. Well, here's the thing. I just don't have an opinion on platinum. If we're all just friends here having a casual talk, I have to wonder why anyone would be buying platinum bullion. Now, really, it would have to be one of those things that makes you feel good because the liquidity just isn't there, generally speaking. I don't have a local coin shop willing to treat them like gold or silver. They'll buy it maybe, but not at a good price. So if I get into a pinch and I want to find a private buyer, I'm going to have even more trouble to sell it. So theoretically, yeah, price goes up in platinum, price goes down. So volatility's there, and if you buy it right, you could probably do okay. But in practice, it would be too much of a pain for me to ever be interested in it. Now, my wife likes it. Just has to be in the form of jewelry. And if that wasn't salty enough, let's cover silver for a minute. Now, I'm not going to be able to find a good question on silver because when silver comes up in the comments section, I'm being told about it. I'm not being asked about it. And I'm Petty. He's an example here. He says you should double your silver and half your gold and cash. I appreciate your comment. I just don't agree with any of it. But that's what makes this fun. Now, I assume you mean in terms of value because the math wouldn't equal out here otherwise. If we just said I should balance my gold and silver, which I think is where you're probably going with this, my backup fund, which is what the video was about that we were commenting on, just wouldn't be the same. And what do I mean by that? Well, gold has outperformed silver. It's a fact that we can see if we use actual data. So I'm going to grab a chart. I'm not just going to tell you what I think. We go back to August of 1971 when Nixon took us off the gold standard, and we can see gold here. It's the yellow line, silver's the gray line. Red and blue are the Dow and the S&P 500. You can ignore those, but in no way does silver outperform gold. It significantly underperforms it. We can even try to pick windows of time to favor silver, but we don't find them. I mean, somewhere in here there has to be a point where it looks like silver did better, but we're going to have to find starting points of extreme lows for silver to get that done. I mean, look, silver is interesting because the unit cost is under $30. And in that sense, it makes sense, but you have to ignore premiums for it to do that. We just can't. And the gold to silver comparison from this chart here becomes far more significantly in gold's favor if we factor in premiums. Silver's a lot more expensive when it comes to that. So again, just looking at the metal's performance, silver hasn't done well. Now, if you flip the narrative to future potential where there aren't any inconvenient facts getting in your way, because now we're talking about something that hasn't happened yet, well, yeah, it's possible that silver has all kinds of potential. Anything's possible. And Shane's comment here, this kind of thing comes up a lot. But we hear people say there are 500 ounces, and even I've heard 500 kilograms of silver in every single Tomahawk missile. Now, where does that come from? Well, somebody made it up. You have knowledgeable sources saying it's probably about 15 ounces, but I hear it all the time. I just heard a coin shop owner on Silver Seeker's channel say BRICS nations are moving to a currency backed by gold and silver. There's just no factual basis to that either. I mean, how did silver even get added to that statement? Central banks don't hold silver as a reserve asset, so that list of made up claims about silver's importance, its urgent demand, it goes on, but mostly it's coming from people who sell it. So silver is what it is. If you like it, great. I'm not here to take anything away from that. I'm just not going to parrot lies. I'm not going to state opinions or fabricate predictions and put them out there as if they're facts. Now, I agree it could move at some point, 100%. But if I want a speculative asset, there are other assets that are continually performing. And if I want a stable asset to use as a hedge against inflationary forces, well, gold is the better performer with lower premiums. So, yep, I like silver because I like the unit cost, and I see it useful in certain cases, but I'm not buying it because I think it's running out. Okay, so let's get back to things we might not agree on. Skyheart wants a link to the knives, and I want to give them, because to me, pocket knives are a lot like wristwatches, but YouTube just apparently doesn't agree with me here. So what you see in the videos tend to be higher-end production folding knives. It's Rockstead in front of a Rockstead, Shergorov in front. I have Grimsmo's, Holtz, Chris Reeve, things like that. Now, I don't show fixed blades. I don't show automatic. I don't show out the front blades or anything that you might think of as a fighting style blade. All I show here are really nice box openers. The largest pocket knife I show on this channel is this Shergorov Quantum in front. It has a 3.75 inch blade, and it would be legal to carry it in San Bruno, California, which just happens to be the headquarters of YouTube. But for some reason, YouTube frowns on knives in general, and they really frown on linking to a shop that sells them. So I had to go back through all my videos at that point, remove all those links, and I just stopped naming them altogether. I don't like YouTube strikes. It's not fun. So I've taken them out of the description. If you ever want to know what the knife in the video is, I'm happy to tell you in a comment. I just can't put them in the description. I'm leaving them though because I think they add really good scale to everything else on the desk, and besides, I like them. So where to buy gold coins? I don't know why I picked this comment. I guess I just like how Hero gets right to it. You've caught by now that I'm going to be working with a new dealer. And by working with, I mean I get to give some input. And they're effectively a sponsor, so I have some bias. But some of the options that they're going to be providing just don't exist out there today. We're going to have more on it soon. But in the meantime, there are a lot of really good places to buy gold and silver. The question is how to get it without paying crazy high premiums. Buying at the wrong time or just paying too much. So there's more to it. Put it all together, what to buy, when to buy, where to buy, how to maximize buy to sell spread, how to maximize liquidity after your purchase. You can't just name one dealer and say it's going to nail all of those things. So I'm hoping to give a little bit more information on that going forward soon, but I've bought from SD Bullion, AppMex, Bullion Exchanges, Bold, JM Bullion, and a few others, and I've never had problems. Same goes with local dealers. I have lots of them that I like, but that's only about a third of the answer. So we're going to come back to that soon. Okay, two more topics. The coin here that Matt is referring to is the 230th anniversary of the flowing hair coin. Now, the U.S. Mint is going to be selling them this fall, and Matt isn't asking here in this particular comment, but I've had a few people ask if I'm interested. And yeah, I'm always interested, but the Mint botched the release of the Bristlecone American Liberty High Relief from last year, at least in my opinion. And they've been releasing these commemoratives with a 50% premium. So I think the Mint is going to have some trouble this time around, because 50% premium today would be $3,700 for a 1 ounce gold coin. It's a lot of money. Even if they stuck to the $900 they did on the Mustang, that would be $3,375, so almost $3,400. Are people going to be willing to pay $3,400 or more for a coin? I don't know. And we know the Mint can put out really nice coins. The design on the Bristlecone was great. It was lovely, but the minting process resulted in very uneven rim dimensions. I sent mine back. I had a video on that. So for the next one, we know what the design will be, and it looks great, but the premium and the quality control, those are big questions. Now, they might release this coin with a very low mintage, maybe because of the price. And if that's the case, maybe I'll bite. But more likely, I'm going to pass. Okay, last one is the big one. Discernment 911 wants to know, buy now or wait. Now, here's what I'd say. The biggest part of your decision should be whether or not you can afford to. So don't ever buy because somebody is feeding you a future prediction, telling you that you need to buy right now. I've been on YouTube for 4 years, and I've seen that all along. People are constantly telling you right now is when you need to buy. If there was a cone hat of shame, a lot of the channels around here would be rocking them, especially when it comes to silver predictions. Now, I'm not saying that to sling insults. If I'm wrong here, just let me know. I'll wear that cone hat myself. I just can't think of any of the sermons on silver's explosive potential using the price silver is at today. Now, you'll probably see some of that coming from people talking about gold as well, for sure. So just be careful. We can find insight out there on what might be coming, but if you're buying based on somebody's story of future performance, you're gambling. Nothing's certain, and that goes for gold, that goes for silver, that goes for stocks, crypto, anything. To the extent that I give advice, I just try to change the way you think. Waste less. And if it's comfortable, direct some of that to metals. Do that relatively consistently, and over time it builds up. Now, if the question is whether I think the price of gold will be higher in the future, even later this year, the answer is yes. I think there will also be times, though, when it's lower. Now, I don't care what anyone says, price fluctuation is a constant risk. Now, the magic here is not in your timing. It's not in metals being manipulated or some other story. It's easier than that. If you've carved out wasted capital, so money that you were otherwise wasting, and you've directed that to metals and you're patient, I can tell you from personal experience that that can be a really good strategy. It's something that's worked out well for me. All right, I think that does it. So guys, girls, get out there and enjoy what's left of your weekend or week, if that's when you're watching this. But before you do, let us know what you think about any or all of these topics. I think we hit 6, 7, 8 maybe. So I'm sure you have thoughts on at least 3 or 4. Let's see them. And then while you're in the comments, be sure to hit that like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to hear more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.